Hello and welcome back to another episode of Two Sheep in a Pool. My name's James.
My name's Ben.
It's been a full year.
A full year to the day.
It's not to the day, Ben.
It's there or thereabouts, though.
It is. I can't believe we've actually committed to it and done it pretty much every week for a full year.
We have. I was going to say any eagle-eyed or people with vague amounts of common sense will realise that it's not quite the right amount of episodes for a year.
But we planned it purposefully to have 50.
It somehow
52.
feels more right that there's 50 in a year.
It does.
And that allows us to each have 1 week holiday.
It does.
Once a year.
Yeah, we're going to have to plan our holidays in advance now so we both go away on the same week.
Yeah.
Or have 2 weeks off together.
I can't remember the reason that I missed a week. Because I remember one of them was you were away.
Yeah.
And the other one, I was doing something, but it wasn't when I went on holiday because I edited the podcast when I was abroad. So I don't know what I was doing.
You were down in Birmingham or something.
Maybe. I was just being lazy that week.
Yeah, because you had one in the bank.
Yeah, and I knew I could. That's what I was thinking ahead. I was like, we need to have 50 for the year.
True.
But first, shall we go into fake news? No. Shall we go into news bleat?
No, because I want to complain about something.
Oh, it wouldn't. I suppose it wouldn't be a two sheep episode.
I tell you what, parking is expensive.
Yeah,
is outrageous. We went to the cinema.
We did.
Spoiler for later on. And I parked in basically the most central car park. Oh, what a mug. I don't think I've ever parked there before. No. I was there for basically 2.5 hours. £8.50. Extortionate.
Shall I let you into a little secret?
You don't have to pay.
All the street parking in Liverpool after 6 o'clock is free.
I know. But
so
I was running late.
But you could have parked on the road next to the cinema.
Yeah, but there was traffic.
But you could have still parked on the road next to the cinema.
Traffic, though.
For free.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Yeah.
Too expensive. Not for free, obviously.
Well, when I made a complaint last time, you were like, the complaint's really that you're an idiot.
Yeah, no, I know that it's free.
So this is me saying you're an idiot.
And then, I am an idiot because then we waited full half an hour for the cinema to actually start.
That's
true.
There
was lots of adverts for bollocks. Right.
That is true.
That's me just being a mad little boy.
Well, I'm going to do a complaint seeing as we're at it.
Go on then.
But mine's a very petty complaint. Right. I walk my dog because dogs need walks.
Yep.
Okay. I have a female dog.
Bitch.
A bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And she's called Maple.
Mm-hmm.
Like the leaf, the tree, the syrup. Mm-hmm. Maple. Lots of people think she's called Mabel, which is, I can understand that. Okay. And everyone with dogs assumes that they're a boy.
Right.
So they always say, how old is he? He's lovely. How's Mabel? When they realise that she's a girl.
Right.
So I thought I'd do two things to remedy this. Well, one thing to remedy both things.
Yep.
I got her a bright pink harness with maple.
I've seen this.
Both sides.
It's very nice.
So if you're a mile away, you can identify that she's a female and she's called Maple.
Right. Okay. Is this like the same as putting a little pink bow on a child?
Exactly the same as that. Not that it bothers me, but it's just you have the same conversation.
It bothers her, doesn't it?
It bothers her. She cries every night. No, but it's just one of those things that you get bored of having the same questions every time. So I was like, I'm just gonna nip it in the bud. Change nothing.
Right.
People can literally be eye level with her, giving her fuss, looking directly at her, and go, "Oh, he's lovely. How old is he?" I'm like, can you not use your fucking eyes?
Maybe they're just not gender stereotyping.
Well, I know
the colour
that.
pink,
I know that a boy, but if you see it initially, surely you would assume that, and then you can ask, is it a girl or a boy?
Yeah,
if you wanted to, but don't just assume she's a boy.
You got to go, what's their name?
Yeah,
and then if you can't read their name on the side of the thing, normally they don't have their name printed on them.
Yeah,
and then you have to make a judgment. If their name's like Rex, you're like, oh, it's a boy, innit?
Yeah.
And if it's like Susan, you know it's a girl. But it might have like a non-gendered name. Then you just have to look at the bits, don't you?
Yeah. That's what you do every time you walk up to a dog. Pick it up, hold it above your head.
Yeah.
Go, he's lovely.
Yes.
Because you've established that.
True.
Anyway, that's my complaint. People are idiots.
Yep. I'm sure that's how we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll end it.
Yep. And we are ending after the 50th episode.
This is it. Goodbye.
Said.
Right. News bleat.
News bleat.
Or not.
Have we become more of a shambles the further we're going into this podcast?
I think it's like a horse shape thing. We started off as a shambles.
Got a little better.
Yeah, we got better. Midway through, it was like good.
Yeah.
Prime time.
Are you going as far as to say that we've been good at some point?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so. And then we just.
But now we're terrible again.
Nosedived off a cliff.
Well, hopefully it'll turn into a figure of 8, and we'll go through the shambles again Oh no, that would mean that we're getting worse though, because we're going down.
Maybe it's like a circle. And we
Maybe
just
it's
reach back where we are.
So we're constantly cycling between being terrible and good.
Okay.
Okay, right. News Bleat. Thomas Cook has gone out of business.
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
Oh. Well, that's an interesting story.
Tell me about it then, and I'll feign interest.
It's pretty sad, though, for all of the people who have paid potentially thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
And are
I'll
either
tell you what
stranded
the interesting part
here
is.
or there.
Is not that they're stranded, is that they're being held hostage. Have you heard this?
What? No, I've not heard this.
Hotels in different places around the globe. But
Yeah.
The one I heard was in Cuba.
Right.
Is that hotels were stopping guests from leaving
Right.
until they paid more money. Because obviously they were expecting money from Thomas Cook for these guests. Because it's basically a third party.
Yeah.
And then Thomas Cook have gone out of business, so they're not going to pay. So,
That can't be legal.
well, yeah. I think you're right there.
Yeah.
But also it might be customers just being, like...
Over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been asked to pay more money or we can't leave. Or it's probably like, you can't stay if you don't pay more money. Something like that.
So they're just kind of chilling in the lobby and going, you're holding me hostage.
Yes.
But they could probably just go.
There has been headlines of people being held with armed guards outside. So
Okay, maybe there is something to that.
take
then.
that from what you will.
Yeah.
I think these are all reports from customers to news sites.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hotel's not going to advertise it.
No, but I mean, I don't think there has been reporters that have gone to these places. Do you know what I mean? So
I get you.
there are allegations and reports of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all the headline kind of stuff.
Well,
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there we go.
Companies going out of business. Meh.
Do you think that this is a byproduct of Brexit?
No, I think this is a byproduct of overpaying
Yeah.
top businessmen for failing companies.
Yeah. You're probably right there.
Yeah. And they won't lose any money. They've been paid millions of pounds within the last, I think it was like £40 million of top execs of
Really?
Thomas Cook have been paid in the last 5 years. And then the company's gone out of business. Yeah. How can you be paid that amount of money?
It's like what happened with it was British Home Stores, wasn't it? That happened.
Yeah.
The CEO of that massively overpaid, and he kind of came out in interviews being like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Yeah, because then he'll get picked up by another company and
Yeah.
paid a ridiculous amount of money anyway.
Yeah.
That's the high life. Why can't I be like that? Why can't I fail and earn millions of pounds? I fail all the time. I'm an absolute failure, but I don't get paid millions of pounds. Outrageous, isn't it?
Oh God! Right, is that what's going on in the news this week then?
Yeah, failures.
Failures.
Well,
Failures
I just think you could
It's-
sum up the whole news with a bunch of fucking failures.
Yeah, true. Right, have you got any more, or shall we move on to?
Fake news or not?
Right then, the last ever fake news or not.
Yeah.
I'm quite sad actually.
I'm sad because I'm fucking lost.
But do you want to hear some stats on fake news or not?
Go on, hit me with some stats.
Right. Do you want to know what
Do
the
I know
score
what-
is?
Can I guess first?
Go on, you guess. So we've been doing this, not quite. I think we started in like episode 4, didn't we?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, so I think it's a total above 50 altogether, like the two
Yes.
added together. Because I think we've messed around a bit and we had a few more points here and there, didn't we?
Yep.
I want to say it's like, I think you maybe have 15 more points than me, maybe 20. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to say 25 to me and what's that? Add 15, so 40 to you.
You're really not far off.
Go on.
It's 41 to me.
Yeah.
28 to you.
I'll take that. That's within a margin of error there.
That is good. I have got some stats though. What do you reckon our longest streaks were on? So when we were consecutive weeks.
I think you had like a streak of about 6, and I think I had like a streak of maybe 3, if max.
You got yours.
Yeah.
It's a 3-week streak for you. 8 streak for me.
Fucking, I knew that's the killer right there.
So I have officially been leading from episode 19 onwards.
There you go. Just couldn't catch you.
Yeah. It was very back and forth. Like in the beginning, it was
Yeah.
like 1 week you, 1 week me, 1 week, and then we were drawing, and then then it handed over.
I think you either got my number and understood the fake news that I was bringing,
Yeah.
or I was just bringing some poor news.
It's important. I've enjoyed this segment very much.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've always brought some good stories,
Thank you.
and I'll treasure this segment
Treasure this
forever.
time.
There we go.
We'll come up with some more games, I reckon.
We'll come up with more.
I like the idea of having like a rotating game.
Yeah.
We'll do
yeah,
maybe like 2 weeks of a game.
Yeah.
And then rotate it out.
Let's do
Let's
that.
see how it goes.
Right.
You ready for this one? Okay. I always put a little cough in, don't I?
Always do.
Always.
Whenever I'm editing, I wait for...
And then you go for it. Okay.
There we go.
Man calls 999 22 times and only burps down the line.
I'm disappointed that the last headline wasn't a Florida man.
Yeah. I mean, it could be from
Can I just
Florida.
insert that in my mind?
A Florida man rings 999.
Yeah.
Suspicious. And only burps down the line.
Only burps down the line.
Belches or whatever
Right, so
words
this-
you like to put in there.
I was about to say obviously happened in the UK. I suppose it could be someone in a different country calling 999.
I think you might not be able to get through. I haven't tested it.
Should we book a quick
No.
flight somewhere? And
No.
okay.
They'll be wasting police time.
Well, I don't think I've got many questions to ask
Okay.
here, but I think that I'm going to say this feels like a very British thing
Right.
that someone would do.
Therefore, it's Florida man.
Therefore, I think this is true. I think this really happened.
So, start and end as you mean to go on. You are correct.
I'm correct. I'm so glad that I managed to finish being
God
correct.
Damn it.
And as a bonus point, I think this man was you.
Shit. Man burps down podcast editors. Yes.
Go on, tell me about this. Who was this? What happened? Was he arrested? Was he fined?
He's been arrested. They put so it was a Cambridgeshire police.
Yeah.
Put out recordings, 3 recordings of him just burping down the line. But then there was a further 19 calls, so they went and made an arrest.
I'm not surprised.
And what they said is, regardless of how many fizzy drinks you've had, this is not an appropriate use of our 999 line.
No. How many times do you think that you could get away with it? Say that he'd only done it 3 times and stopped. Do you think they'd have been like, okay, leave him to it?
Yeah.
Was it the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time that they were like, okay, right, get your jacket on, let's go and arrest him?
Maybe, I don't know. I must have told the story where I accidentally called 999 and then had a policeman turn up at my house.
Yeah.
So I think, once she should be checked on.
Yeah.
Doesn't he come over and get burped? Policeman comes and pats him on the back.
Yeah, do you think there was any concern through any of it? That they were like, maybe this is a code. Maybe they're trapped and the only noise they can make is a burp.
So much gassy liquid
Yeah.
that they can only burp down the line. No, I don't think so.
No, probably
I
not.
think there's no excuse for that. I can imagine like hiccups or something. You can't properly convey what you want to say.
Yeah.
But burps, I
Maybe
think
not burps. So lesson is, if you're being held hostage, don't burp to the police.
Yeah.
Right then. Well, officially, we're closing, fake news or not, 42 to 28.
And congratulations, Ben.
Thank
well
you
done.
very much.
I'm proud of you. I don't think you could have made this without me.
No, you're not wrong.
Literally. We'll have to come up with some different ideas. If you've got any suggestions, please email
Suggest
in.
away, yeah.
Let us know.
That's it. Goodbye, fake news or not. Right then, on to the main
topic. Right, Benjamin. What are we talking about this week?
We are talking about Rambo.
We are another
Rambo.
a classic film.
So
that
yeah,
we decided to watch.
This
and
is
review.
a classic film that I have seen all of them, albeit some of them were quite a few years ago. You had never seen any of them.
I'd never seen any of them.
And we decided to do it this week because the newest Rambo film has just come out in cinemas.
Yep.
Rambo Last Blood. So we haven't watched all of them. I've rewatched 3 of them, and you've watched the first and last one.
Yeah, the bookend it.
The bookend of them. Right, so before we start any of this, get into any opinions, I know that you know the names of a few of them at least.
Right.
So there's 5 Rambo films, for anyone who doesn't know. What do you think they're called?
So I know the first one's Rambo First Blood.
Yes.
But I would have just guessed that was called Rambo originally.
Okay.
And then I feel like number 2 should be like Rambo 2 Second Blood.
Okay.
Second Coming.
Okay.
A murderous duo or something like that.
Yeah.
A third one. Is this the one that's just Rambo?
No.
Okay. Rambo beats up your gran.
Okay.
Something like that. 4 is Rambo.
4 is Rambo.
And then 5 is Rambo Last Blood.
Yes. Okay, so I think that it makes sense that we've got Rambo First Blood and Rambo Last Blood.
Yep.
Okay. So I've not written these down, but from memory, I think it goes Rambo First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2,
Of course.
Rambo 3, Rambo Last Blood. It's a very confusing way of
That is.
ordering your films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially considering, so if we took a book adaptation like Harry Potter and
Right.
they split a book into 2, that makes perfect sense to have a part 1 and a part 2.
It does.
It's the same film, you could edit them together and it would be 1.
Yeah.
This really isn't a part 1 and part 2, it's just a sequel.
Oh.
I mean, you could paint that for any sequel, it's kind of a part 2 of its previous story.
Yeah.
But there's really not a continuation in that way.
I would imagine part 2 begins as part 1 ends.
Yeah, and it does, but only in the sense of a story. It shouldn't be part 1 and part 2, is
Right.
what I'm saying. Right. Shall we get into what you thought of these?
Yes.
We'll start, because what happened was, we went to watch Rambo Last Blood.
Yep.
I'm just going to call these Rambo 1 to 5. When I call a film, it's just going to be Rambo followed by its number, just to keep things simple.
Right.
We went to watch Rambo 5
Which
in the
one's
cinema.
We did.
As you were paying for your ticket, I said something to the effect of, "Oh, so what did you think of First Blood?"
No, you will. Have you seen First Blood yet? And I was like, no.
And I
Yeah.
thought you were joking.
Yeah.
You really didn't watch First
No, I hadn't
Blood
seen it yet.
until after Last Blood. So in a way, you're keeping up with the confusing numbering
Oh, it doesn't matter,
scheme
does it? Because
that they've gone
really,
for.
the stories don't seem so interlinked, or at least I can't find a link between the first and last one.
No.
Yeah, and then we went to the cinema and
we
watched it.
them.
We were the only people in there.
Only people in there. Let's do the first one first, and we'll come to all of the Last Blood stuff after. So, I think, again, before we do spoiler things, Sylvester Stallone, massive props to the guy. He has kept his career going for so long.
He's so one-dimensional that I think if he turned sideways, I wouldn't be able to see him anymore.
No, he's so wide, you can see him from any angle. As he has got older, though, it literally looks like someone's just stretched him.
What, as in, like, they put him in Photoshop and just, like...
Yeah, like...
Not from the corner, but from, like, the side, so he looks, like...
Exactly.
Disproportionately large.
I don't think he's not got fatter. He's not got massively more muscular because he's got older. He's just... It's like everything has expanded on him.
Is that not just what happens with old people?
Maybe. Anyway,
Maybe,
I reckon
he's
this later.
shrunk
Yeah.
so that he looks wider.
He looks wider.
You know, so they've not dragged him out from not dragged him out, but he's been shrunk down from the top.
So he's just kind of sagged outwards. Yeah, I suppose so. But anyway, so 1982 is when this film came out.
Right.
Did you know it was a book adaptation?
I only know because I saw at the end an adaptation from the book.
From the book. Right, okay, here we go. So, Rambo First Blood, what do you think of this film? Before you say anything, give me a rating.
I would say maybe like 3.5, 4 stars. I
3.5,
quite liked it.
Okay, so you did quite like this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because I think I'd sit on a 4.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think it's really good, and I've probably got that kind of nostalgic look at it as well.
I can look at this film and understand why there are sequels made from it.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of, like, there's car chases, lots of shooting, explosions, tunnels, traps. Yeah. I'd like to describe it as like a bit of Home Alone-esque. He sets up these traps and, like, captures people.
Kind of like
a proper badass.
A very adult version of Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll say reasons I like this film. I think it's a very quiet, kind of contemplative film. There's lots of moments for kind of like, why is he like this? And it's looking at how a soldier who's come back from war, what's his place in the world? Yeah, because he's a very damaged man.
Yeah, I would describe this film as being a anti-Vietnam War film.
Yeah, totally. So I think through this film, the reason that he goes on this rampage is he's arrested, I'd say wrongfully. He doesn't really do anything. He's targeted because he's come back from the Vietnam War, and the cops like, we don't want your kind around here.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to cause trouble.
I think that was more, not because he was a soldier, but because he was basically, they thought he was a homeless man. Or
Well,
he
no,
was a homeless
did you
man.
not hear his comments about the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, regardless of what it is, the reason he gets triggered is because he suffers very badly from PTSD, and they basically hose him down like a dog, because they're like, we're going to clean you up before we take you to court. And they go to shave him with a razor blade, and that gives him flashbacks from when he was tortured in Vietnam as a prisoner of war. And then he's not thinking at that point. He just flips out because he thinks he's in Vietnam, freaks out, whatever. And then by the time he comes back round again, they're hunting for him, and they're just like, one of the police people's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. He's not, I'm going to arrest you. That's one that falls out the helicopter. Let's talk about that. I think he killed himself. I don't think that was his fault.
Yeah.
Because the lead police, the police captain was basically like, don't kill him. We're just bringing him in. But this guy's like, nah, I'm going to lean out of this helicopter as far as I can get, even though I shouldn't be doing it, and try and kill him. And he falls out.
Yeah, but the death is caused by Rambo's action. Throwing the
But an
rock.
act of defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still, if you kill someone in defense, that's still, you've killed them.
True.
You wouldn't maybe get charged for murder, but I could see the cops being like, you've killed this man.
Yeah.
I like this film because it's grey. If that, like, not the colour, but it's totally a grey area. Like, Rocky's not a good guy. The cops aren't a good guy. There is no good guys in this film. Sorry, I'm going to say Rocky the whole way through. Rambo is not a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, what he is doing is against the law.
Yeah.
But what the law are doing is, like, not good either.
Yeah.
So it's very grey area, which I like about this film. It makes you think, well, if I was in his situation, I might do something similar.
Exactly.
But I can understand where the cops are coming from as well.
Yeah.
So
but I think it's just all about how does he now reintegrate into society.
Yeah.
Because he's been part of this very elite, he was Green Beret, like special forces, part of this unit that were very, very elite.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I've been trained to kill, basically. What do I do now? I'm back. Now he's mentally broken and has all these skills that don't work unless he's trying to hunt down in self-defense all these police people and staying alive. What did you think of his speech at the end? Because I thought that was one of the highlights of the film. His emotional...
Oh, when he's saying to his... he does angry shouty very well.
He does.
Obviously you could see him as a broken man that the war has caused him and that this experience has caused to him, and it felt raw and real, and truly emotional. And for him to break down and like hug his squadron leader,
he just needed a hug.
He did.
Just needed a hug,
which is kind of a sad moment.
Because it was that there was one line I wrote down. Yeah, because his friend, he said that they were in a bar drinking, and someone had planted a bomb, blew up his friend, and he was dying in his arms, saying, "I want to go home." And Rambo was basically just like screaming, "I can't find your legs.
Yeah.
How am I going to get you home without your legs?" I was like, this is like traumatizing.
Yeah.
But I thought this film felt thoughtful, is what I mean. It wasn't just about mindless killing and violence.
No, there was very little killing.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of violence. Chasing and like showing off these like survival skills and stuff like that, which is really interesting. But yes, not as much like just mindless gore and killing.
Yeah. But it did a very good job, I think, so when he's initially being hunted in the woods and it's kind of just getting to nighttime, so it's very dark, and he's kind of painted as this just stealthy animal. Like there's loads of shots of him, kind of a lightning flash goes and you just see his silhouette come and take someone out. And there was highlights of the film with that, but I thought they handled it really well, because with a lot of action films now, the camera's moving about so quick, and if it's in a dark background, you have no idea what's going on. Yeah. Whereas here, you kind of felt you could always track what was going on.
I think modern cinema has become much more about like cutting on the action and like trying to let your mind fill it in.
Blanks, yeah.
Which has benefits and drawbacks, but in this you could see there was like thoughtful, like, well, this is how we're going to shoot this.
Yeah.
This is how the action's going to be, and you're going to see it all ish. Like it's not like dramatic, like someone's gets the back of their leg cut. You see the knife go, and then like a couple seconds later it'll cut, and you'll see that the blood dripping out the back of the leg, and the cut and the cut's open and stuff like that. But in the past, it might be like the arm comes down and it cuts before the action, and then you see the thing. You don't actually see it like cut. It'd be like 3-4 cuts, whereas this was like maybe one max or something like that, which is enjoyable from a film, I think.
Definitely. So this film originally, okay, So all of the Rambo films pretty much come in bang on 1 hour 30. There or thereabouts for all of them. Okay. So it's quite refreshing in a way to watch a film that's quite short. I don't feel that this needed to be any longer.
No.
So if I said to you, how long do you think this film originally should have been? Had the original director submitted his film?
Well, it's going to be some silly business like 3 hours 10, something like that.
Just over 3 hours. Apparently, I was about to say Rambo then. Apparently, Sylvester Stallone and his agent saw the film and it was a shambles.
Really?
They said, I think their words specifically were, we're disgusted with the film. So that's originally it was going to be released that way, but the studio managed to come around with their help and got it down to this. They didn't change any of the shots. They literally just cut out over an hour and a half of footage, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like massively fast paced either.
No.
So I can imagine another hour and a half would be like too long.
I don't know what the hell the other hour and a half would have been.
No. I'd be curious to see a director's cut of it. But
Yeah.
I imagine it's never been released.
I don't think it has. I imagine it was the point of Sylvester Stallone said that he wanted to buy the film to destroy it. That's how much he hated it until he edited it. Anyway, so bad things about this film? Is there anything that you think was... Because we've not given it 5. What do you reckon could have got it there?
I don't think Sylvester Stallone does bad acting, but his character may have been better played by someone else.
How do you think?
I would be maybe I wouldn't enjoy it as much with somebody else, but I'd be curious to see what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he does like this silent boding very well. Like I thought it was okay, but like not amazing. Like the action shots were alright, and like that last speech was okay. Like it was good, but maybe somebody else maybe played it better.
I thought there was this isn't necessarily what would make the film a 5-star film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought something was weird that I kind of laughed a little bit at. So he's painted as this absolute badass. He's living off all the resources that he can just happen across and surviving. And then he goes through a tunnel and he gets so freaked out by some rats.
Oh yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah.
Like he literally looks like he's having a meltdown getting attacked.
I imagine that maybe the film was like the longer film was filled with this kind of shit.
Yeah,
of him like survive. It was like 45
like,
minutes.
There's a spider.
Yeah, he's like whittling some wood, and then he turns over his hand. There's a spider on the other side.
Yeah. And you're probably right. I think that probably is what the other half was.
That was a bit because he's just basically like going through these tunnels that's full of water.
Yeah,
and then it just looks like a Bush Tucker.
Hey, he got there.
Trial from
I'm a Celebrity. There we go.
Gosh, that was hard.
That was a hard sentence, wasn't it?
Because in my mind, and I don't know why, I had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and that was just screaming at me, and I don't know why.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it just felt like he overreacted to that for someone.
Yeah.
So amazing. No, not amazing. Not good, amazing. But not amazing.
I'd say, really good. I like this. And I would definitely put it up there I think it deserves a place in that classic film category of one of those films that you should watch.
Yeah.
To see, because you can see why this has inspired a lot of action sequences.
For sure.
Since then.
Definitely.
So, good. My favourite thing as well, as with many 80s films, Rocky did this too, finishing on a freeze frame when the cheesiest, 80s power rock song comes in over the top.
They love a freeze frame.
Oh, I love that.
Then the credits roll up.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Right. So, you've not seen Rambo 2, 3, or 4.
I haven't.
But you have seen 5.
I have.
What do you think happens in 2, 3, and 4?
Right, because...
If you had to imagine his career to take him to the point that you've seen him at in the 5th film...
Well, let's just take a wild guess.
He
gets drafted into some sort of military service after this, thinking that he can't handle his life as a civilian, so he gets drafted into, I don't know, CIA or something like that, or something within the local USA, and he has to deal, or he goes into abroad and deals with terrorists or something like that. That'd be my guess. And then he finally retires, and and then we find him at Rocky 5.
Yeah.
Rambo 5. Oh my god, I'm going to do that for the whole film.
Not even intentional.
This is Thalmos all over again.
Thalmos all over again. Right, so you're basically not too far off.
Okay.
Right. I don't know if you know this, but Rambo 2 and 3 are regarded as dog shit.
Right.
And they are dog shit.
Okay.
So they basically the first film did pretty well, and they thought, let's make a franchise out of this.
Yeah.
What changed, though, is all the PTSD kind of thoughtful stuff of the first film of how does this man fit into society, how is he coping, he's a pretty broken man, gone. Out the window.
Oh.
He becomes Action Man, and they become just larger than life, ridiculous. He'll get shot in the leg and just keep going.
Oh, like proper video game style, like it doesn't matter what happens to him. Okay.
But the problem with it is, it takes itself way too seriously, and it doesn't take any comedy in its stride. Now it's going down this route.
Oh.
So you've just got this cartoon character acting way too seriously.
Right. So what is the plot line then?
The plot line, I've not watched these two for years, but I think the second one, he is in prison from what has happened in the first film.
Right.
His captain comes to him and says, I can make a deal with you to get you out of prison if you come and do this mission. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So basically, he goes back to Vietnam to save some American prisoners of war that are still captured from the Vietnam War.
Right.
So he goes and does that. I think he falls in love with the girl over there, and she's killed, I think, by an American, and then he basically just goes on a rampage and kills loads of people. Does
he kill Americans, or is it Vietnamese?
I think Americans.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I've not watched this for a really long time, but I think that's what happens. So that's that one. The next one, and this one's controversial, because this is the film that people say Rambo fights with the terrorists.
Oh, okay.
So it's set in, I think he's still living in Vietnam when we start.
Right.
He's just going about his life peacefully. I think there's a stick fighting scene, but he's not doing anything too bad.
Okay.
This film is like peak Sylvester Stallone. He's tripled in size and he's just shredded.
Right.
Like, he's a huge man. It was that peak time when, Arnold Schwarzenegger and him were kind of competing for the biggest, best action hero. Did you hear about the role they were... who was it? It was Arnold Schwarzenegger tricked Sylvester Stallone into doing a bad film.
Yes.
Because they were trying to get one up on each other all the time. So he leaked information that he was going for this role to make Sylvester Stallone go for it, even though he knew it was a bad film. And
what film was that?
all of that. Something about don't shoot my mum. Stop mum, don't shoot. I can't remember. Something like that.
So not a cult classic then?
No, it's bad.
Doesn't have
It's
a
real
don't
bad.
kill my second mother.
No, what? Oh, I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So this film, he goes into the Far East, and I'm probably speaking out of turn here, but he basically fights with the Taliban against Russians.
Okay.
And there's very little plot line in this. It's just an excuse for a fight.
Right. Is this the point, though, where the Russians were invading the Middle East, and then the US supplied weapons to them, and then got angry afterwards, like, how could you use these weapons against us?
Basically.
Politics.
I say this retrospectively. It's not like at the time they made a decision to make him fight with terrorists.
Right.
But anyway, both those films, terrible.
Right.
Then we come on to Rambo.
You nearly said Rocky then.
Rambo 4.
Yep.
Where he's now a lot older. This came out in 2007, I think. And he's kind of gone into a self-imposed isolation. Yeah, he's living on his own peacefully. He's basically hunting snakes and selling them to a snake fighting thing. It's a bit weird.
Classic.
That's
how we all make our money.
And a religious, what are they called? A missionary group come along, and they say, we want to go into Myanmar, formerly Burma. There was a lot of war stuff going on.
Okay.
And they wanted to go and provide medicine to sick people.
Right.
And they're like, you can do it? Can we pay you to take us there? Because he has a boat, basically.
Okay. And this is in Vietnam still?
This is somewhere just south of Myanmar.
What's Myanmar? Is that a city?
Is
that a country?
Yeah.
Myanmar? Malaysia?
Myanmar, officially the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, and also known as Burma.
Oh.
Southeast Asia.
I think I've heard of Burma, but I haven't heard of Myanmar.
Yeah.
Right, well. Learn
There we
something
go.
new every day.
Anyway, he lives near there. I can't remember where it is.
Right.
But they say, take us in. He's like, no, I won't do it. But then a pretty girl comes and says, please do it. And he's like, okay then.
He loves a pretty girl, doesn't he?
Loves a pretty girl. Then they go, and I think they make it back the first time, but then they go back in without him.
Okay.
And then they get captured.
Right.
So then someone comes and says, please, Rambo, they're trapped. Mm-hmm. And he goes in, but with some, like a mercenary group. It's like a ragtag group of people that don't get on, but they're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
They free them eventually. There's a lot of fighting. Mm-hmm. This is the point where it really gets gory, over the
Right.
top, bloody violence.
Like Tarantino style.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
2 and 3 had it, but this is the one where it's bloody. And that finishes. I will say, I think Rambo is maybe not the best Rambo film, but it's on a par with the first.
Okay.
I think what should have happened is they did Rambo First Blood, and Rambo 4 should have been called Rambo Last Blood, and they finish it.
Okay.
There should be no 2 and 3. There should just be those 2 films.
Yep.
So if anyone is going to come to this franchise, and I wish that I think it's obvious now what I thought of Last Blood, you should watch First Blood and Rambo
Yeah.
and finish.
Right.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I've only watched one of those.
Yes. So that brings us to Rambo 5, Rambo Last Blood.
Okay. Do you want me to synopsis it?
Give me your rating first.
1.5.
Okay, cool. Now synopsis.
Rambo is a man living in the southern USA. He's dug a bunch of tunnels and he's living with a Mexican grandma and her granddaughter. I had made the assumption, right, that they were from a previous film.
No.
No, okay.
The only thing that carries over from Rambo, because he kind of was setting up the sequel,
Right.
he goes home to Arizona to I assume his father's farm,
Right.
Because he goes there and there's a letterbox
ranch.
that says Rambo, the
Right.
ranch that he's on. That film was meant to come out much sooner because that
Right.
was like 2007. I think it should have come out in like 2010, but it was just plagued by
Bad writing.
massive problems. It was going to originally be called Rambo, The Last Hunt or something,
Okay.
and it was him being drafted in to fight against a genetically mutated human-animal hybrid.
Of course.
And
I might have
they
been
had to
better.
hunt. That disappeared. There was another film written with the author about Rambo's final days, which the writer was like, "This was amazing. I can't believe it didn't happen." And eventually, this came. Have you seen the author of the book? What he said about this film?
If he says anything, then that it like destroyed the character that he's made, then I feel disappointed for him because Rambo originally from the first film is a nuanced, multi-layered character that has his good redeeming points, but also is obviously very scarred and hurts lots of people.
Yeah.
In this last one, he's a crazed maniac and an idiot.
This film doesn't have a reason to exist. It doesn't gain anything for the character. It doesn't drive any narrative on. It just exists.
Yeah.
For him to have a fight.
Yeah.
Because at Rambo 4, it was kind of the theme of that one, I'd say, is he's overcome his PTSD somewhat, and he's come to terms with the fact that he's trained to kill, and he hates himself for it, but knows that that's all he can do.
Right.
I'd say that's the theme. Whereas this one, nothing. He just goes around, threatens teenage girls. There was that scene in a car where he was like, "I'll fucking kill you," and it was very, I found that a bit uncomfortable. But okay, the author said, "The film was a mess. I'm embarrassed to have my name associated with it." He felt degraded and dehumanized and felt less of a human after watching the film.
I absolutely and utterly agree with the man.
Yeah.
Synopsis.
Yes.
So Rambo is on this farm with a Mexican old lady and her granddaughter. We then get told that Rambo raised her like her own daughter, and her father had run off, and her mother had died of cancer.
Yeah.
We get told all of this. This is like not a show, not tell. This is just we get told it. They have like a little horse ride, and have like a little connecting moment. And he's like, "Oh, you should invite them around here." She's like, "No," and then he's like, "Yeah, but you should do it." And she's like, "Oh, okay then."
Invite her friends round.
Invite her friends round, yeah. They all come round, have a party. Don't
I
really
think that
get
was
it.
just showing us the fact that he had tunnels under his house.
He has tunnels under his house, like miles and miles of tunnel under his house.
Miles and miles.
And then she's like, "I found my father. He lives in Mexico. I'm gonna go and see him." And it's like, well, obviously you're gonna meet some cartel there and get. It basically felt like Taken.
Yeah.
So basically that's what happens. She gets drugged and put into a cartel prostitution den.
Yeah.
The girl that set her up then rung up Rambo's family and was like, "Oh, she's been taken. I don't know where she is. She's gone missing." And then Rambo to try and find her, gets the shit beaten out of him, gets rescued by a journalist who'd also had her sister taken by this group. He gets like a scar on his face because this vitro like puts a V on his face, and then he comes back even more aggressive. Finds his daughter-ish, takes her back. She dies. That was the only shocking part of this. I was like surprised she actually died.
Yeah, that was a bit, not a twist, but I was surprised. Yeah. She died.
Like he'd done all this and then died, and then he just goes full on like revenge mode.
Yeah.
Like for no other reason. Like I don't know.
So the cartel
he's just angry.
Had two brothers, didn't it?
Yeah.
He goes and kills one of the brothers.
Yeah, beheads him.
And then basically lures the rest of them back to his house.
Yeah.
Where they have a big fight in the tunnels.
Where he does another... This is more Home Alone than the first one.
Yeah.
Where there's like 2 scenes. There's like 2 montages. Well, I don't know why there's 2, but there's 2 montages.
Yeah.
Montages,
yeah.
Of him setting up this Home Alone traps everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they all come in these tunnels, and he's like a big rat, and he just goes around shooting people's faces off.
Right. Let's start with the final fight. Because for me, it was the only... If this film had been framed in a different way, a more fun, almost kind of piss take of itself...
Right.
That would have been better, I feel. Because this could have been... I say fun very loosely, because it was gory killing.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're going to do that kind of thing, do it in a kind of a hokey
slapstick,
way.
over the top.
Because it was crazy over the top. This film culminated with him slicing open a man's chest, pulling his heart out, and there was like this massive sound effect of a beating heart on over the top of it.
I thought he was going to take a bite out of it, like some sort of like crazed man, like he's gone like this, and he's going to like eat it in front of his face.
But it was
that'd be impressive.
I lost my... Well, I think both of us lost our shit at that point in the film. We were the only people in there, and we literally just burst out laughing.
Yeah.
But right, my point was, all of this fight scene would have been so much better if we didn't spend 10 minutes prior to it seeing every trap that he set up.
Yeah, and then goes off.
Just see him hammering some stuff for a minute. He's obviously doing something to set up, and then fade away and start the fight.
So we have some surprises.
But we saw everything in painstaking detail that he was setting up.
What confused me, right, is he was always hid around a corner, the trap would go off, and then he'd just go and blow their brains off.
Yeah, it was like they're
Why
dead.
don't you just go around the corner and blow their brains off anyway?
Yeah.
Like, what was all the point of the traps? Either let them have their, like, be writhing in a trap going to die, or then basically the other brother that survives and comes and chases after him, I can only describe him as a Mexican Thomas Hardy.
Yeah,
because that's what he looks like.
So he was basically keeping him alive to kill him himself and rip his heart out.
Yeah, because you ripped my heart out, I'm gonna rip your heart out.
Yes. So this film, the dialogue... Well, I was going to say, he was... How lucky was that guy to avoid the hundreds of traps that he laid around so he could be killed by Rambo?
Yeah, and then he's like, if you want to live... It's like almost like Batman. If you want to live, follow the lights.
And then turns the lights off.
And then it's like C4, and you just see all this like exploding ground. And then it's like you do like a pan over the whole place, and there's like miles and miles of tunnels have all exploded for whatever reason, just so that he could chase this one man out into a barn.
So as well, the first brother that he killed to lure the other one there, we didn't even see him get killed.
No.
He did it off screen.
Yeah. Definitely not for me, because I went for a wee.
Well, I know you did, but he killed him off screen.
Yeah, because I went for a wee, 30 seconds, gone, something like that. And he went from being like talking to this woman like, oh, do you think I can find him? What can I do about it? To me coming in and being like, oh, everything's happened or dead. I was like, how did that even happen?
That's what I had to fill you in, and I was like, this isn't going to make any sense, because he's done... Like, it makes no sense for me either.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a film that's based around those action set pieces, at least show them.
Yeah.
But, right, other bad things, dialogue in this film.
Yeah.
Like you just said then, the metaphor of I'm going to rip your heart out because you ripped out mine. Dialogue in this film had the likes of, fuck you, nah, fuck you. Mm-hmm. That was a quote from a conversation between two of them.
Yep.
It's like no thought went into this at all.
I tell you, like right at the beginning of this, I knew that this was going to be bad because I felt very uncomfortable during the conversation that him and his daughter, air quotes, had on the horse, because the camera was set up in such a way that it felt like I was an extremely tall person in between the two of them. And when it would cut to Rambo talking, and you'd be literally like, if I stuck my tongue out, I could lick his face. That's how close we were up to him. I was like, why am I seeing Sylvester Stallone's face blown up to this proportion? Yep. And I felt like, and then it would like cut, and you were like basically next to the other person, and I was like, this is an unbelievably claustrophobic scene when you're both riding horses meters away from each other in this expansive wild. Why am I basically up in his grill? It was weird. The
first note that I've made, because I was making notes while we were watching this.
Yeah.
Why is the camera so fucking close? All in caps.
Weird.
I don't understand it.
It felt like they only had a GoPro or something, and it was one man and a hand, like right close.
I think some of these shots were done on GoPros, because the other thing is, so that's the close shots. The wide shots, when they were showing like cities or a place that they were going, they were super grainy, like overexposed, low res.
Yeah.
It was like they had no budget, but they obviously must have done.
I think they spent all of their budget on green screening people in cars.
Oh, God.
It's like no one. They didn't have an actual place to go and record this film in a car.
They obviously did, because we saw the car from the outside, but they were very careful not to show any actors.
Yeah.
So it's like they just couldn't get actors and cars on set in the same day.
It's like they could only film it within the space of 3 weeks, and they had to send out a secondary
Christ.
Because they filmed it basically in a car, and then the background was just green screened.
Yeah, very obviously.
Obviously.
It had that thing of on a straight road, but Sylvester Stallone's hands were like as if he was on a like rally course.
Is this the 50s?
Like, rotating around.
And then at one point, he pulls to the right to pull over the car, and then it cuts to the outside shot, and the car's on the left-hand side of the road.
Oh, it was mad.
I'm like, what the fuck is it?
Absolutely mad.
The continuity was terrible.
While we're on the subject of the cameras as well, they did so much weird, soft, focusy. I don't know whether it's because he's so old and looks like he's melting now with all the surgery, whether they tried to like Instagram filter like a soften thing to make him look a bit young. Did you notice it?
There were some points where I'm like, why is this in Vaseline? Like, it was like, I'm like, am I squinting at this? Why is this whole thing squinty? It's like the cameraman's not be able to focus it, and they've not had time to do another shot.
Like, I feel bad, like, just raiding on Sylvester Stallone, because I really enjoy a lot of his work, but this was dodgy as fuck.
Oh, this was terrible.
I don't think that this film, the script was written as a Rambo film. I feel like this was a random script for a man hunting down his daughter, hunting down the people that kidnapped his daughter, and then they just went, let's take this and slap Rambo on it.
Yeah, it was like Taken / Home Alone put together with Rambo's name thrown on it.
Just nothing new.
Yeah, no,
nothing new.
There was nothing like Vietnam flashback style. He was just an angry man. I tell you what, it was really like gory, and I can't believe they put it in. Was him? He like basically stabs a man in his upper chest, and then we watch him break his collarbone.
Yeah.
And then he just like disposes of him. We never see him again. He's like dead. And then he like an idiot walks into this cartel, and then he's surrounded by everyone. He's like, "Where's this girl?" And then he gets the shit bit out of him.
That was one of the only bits that I did like, because Rambo is much older now.
Yeah.
He can't do the things that he used to. So if they'd framed it differently again, I quite liked it that he thought, I'm going to just go in and be Rambo here and fight my way out. And he's like, oh no, I'm going to get completely beaten up because I'm an old man now.
But that's not Rambo style at all. Rambo, from the other film I've seen, is he's sneaky. He'll take each out.
Exactly.
Like, at one point, it's all zoomed out, and we see someone watching Rambo, and Rambo spots them, and I'm thinking, right, this is going to be sneaky style. He's going to go up there, kill that guy, kill the next one. Is the whole film going to be him infiltrating this? It'd be interesting to see him like work his way around, find the girl, save the day.
Yep.
But he finds the girl. No, he gets beat the shit out of him. Then he goes in with a fucking hammer, hammers the shit out of people, and then finds the girl and leaves, and she dies.
Yep.
And then he just kills everyone.
So Rambo 4 is this film, but good.
Okay.
And they should have stopped it there.
Yeah.
He did all the sneaky, stealthy stuff. Like, there was the mercenary group went in Rambo 4 to save these people,
right,
and found themselves out of their depth. But then Rambo steps in, and he's using a bow and arrow, stealthy, quietly picks off people, gets around it that way. All of those things that you're saying happen in Rambo 4. I don't understand why this film got made. It didn't need to happen.
No.
I don't know whether it was just a vanity project that Stallone wanted to do, just to continue the character on for some reason, whether he wanted a payout from it, I don't know.
I wonder if he had this image of Rambo, because the film ends with him on a rocking chair on the veranda of his home.
Yeah.
And he's like an angry man, And I don't really know what the film's trying to tell us about that. Like, has he got closure? Doesn't seem like it.
Did he die at the end of this? Did he not?
I don't know.
Because we see him very obviously get injured.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't seem to be dying.
No.
I thought if they were going to do this, they were going to kill him, and that would be the final closure for Rambo. But they didn't do that either.
No, they've been like, oh yeah, he's probably going to die, but if we wanted to bring out a Rambo 6 that's also terrible, we could do that if we wanted to. Terrible.
What's with the pills as well that he's taking?
And then he
they
just throws
very
them on the
obviously
floor.
see him taking pills.
Yeah.
Quite a lot at the beginning. And then we see him drop them or throw them away.
Yeah, he throws them away. He's like, I don't need this because I'm getting
dressed.
angry. Is that the idea of that? It's to stop him with his PTSD and stop his anger or something like that?
He seems plenty angry enough before that.
I know.
Right.
Very strange.
I want to talk about something that's come out of this, though.
Okay.
So I'm going to just go on Rotten Tomatoes. Give me 1 second. Have you seen any of the news and stuff around this film?
Nothing.
Right. So what do you think? Because for anyone who doesn't know how Rotten Tomatoes work, there's a critics overall rating and an audience overall rating. So the critics are all kind of joined together into one review number, and the same with just normal audience goers. What do you think the rating is from critics and from audiences?
I'd like to think that critics are quite low, so I'm going to say, I don't know, 20%.
Okay.
Something like that. And I like to think that general public are idiots, and so I'm going to go with something as high as like 68%.
Right. Critics, 28%.
That was pretty good.
There we go. Audiences, 84%.
Like I said,
Right.
idiots.
So I have seen a mass of news stories about this, of people coming out and saying, oh, the gap between critics and audiences is getting worse and worse. Critics are just jumping on the bandwagon with bad reviews, and they're slating this even though it's not actually a bad film.
Right.
And audiences are taking it for what it is, a fun, good film, and, there's this real problem. And loads of people that have been posting this kind of stuff are saying it's because critics are using it for political bias, and they're saying this is a Trumpian film that's...
okay,
they're
right, 'cause
defending
it's anti-Mexican cartel
exactly.
thing, right?
This is just a god awful film.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I can't fathom. There's so many people defending this for being good, and
Do you think this is like it's attracting only a small number of people that would probably already like this film? So you originally were going to have Gina come along as well.
Yeah.
And then you described what the Rambo films were, and she was like, oh no, that's absolutely not for me.
yeah, she literally left. We were on the way to go and see the film, and yeah, I described what Rambo was. She was like, nah.
Yeah. There's no nuance to this. There's no grey area. Rambo is a good guy because he's fighting the cartel, who are drug dealers and pimps.
Yeah.
And they're bad because they beat up. They are bad, but obviously there's nothing good about them. But there's no redeeming factor. You know what I mean? In the first one, it's like, oh well, Rambo's being a bit of a dick here because he's actually fighting against the police, who are the law and order, and he was arrested maybe on weak charges, but there's still probably lawful charges.
Yeah.
In this one, it's like, oh, here is a perfect person who you're supposed to hate.
Yeah.
You do hate because they're horrible people, but it's got no nuance to it.
It's insane. I said, because we try and hold our opinions back, don't we, until we're on mic and we can discuss it. But after this film finished, I said, all I will say is this could not be any further away from the first film.
Yeah.
Like,
What did I say
different.
to you after the film finished?
What did you say?
I said, where do we go and get our money back?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I think the best part of this film was midway through. You won't get this at your viewing. Midway through, we had two old ladies come in and say, "Excuse me, is this Downton Abbey?" It's like there's a man murdering people on the screen. Like, does this look like Downton Abbey?
Oh, it was wonderful. Because they came in twice. They came in the first time. I don't think you clocked them because I was looking at you like, what's going on here? They came in with their tickets and they saw the lights were completely off and this film was going. I think it was in the middle of a car chase where like people were getting shot, stabbed. They look up, kind of look around the cinema, and then they go back out. And then they came in, did the same again, and that's when they asked Downton Abbey. Oh, I wish that we'd said yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see them sit down and I wonder how long it would take for them to realise, I think they've lied to us.
Oh, it was wonderful.
That part was the only redeeming factor about going to the cinema, because parking was expensive. The seats are good. I like that cinema.
I really like that cinema. Rambo, why would they do it? I'm baffled. Let's finish there.
I wonder if it's still made a profit. Do we have like an opening weekend kind of thing, or is this the opening weekend coming up?
I think this is the opening weekend coming up. Shall I see if the box office figures are out?
Yeah, let's see. Because if this makes a tidy profit, it means that the world's ruined.
Yeah. Also, okay, it's grossed 20 million so far.
That's not 1 billion. It's no Disney film.
So that mean that's not a bad opening by any means. If that dropped off after here, though, it could still be a flop.
What, after our review?
Just after our review. No, I mean, yeah. There's so many people now just say, oh, the critics don't mean anything. And I mean, people are completely entitled to their own opinion. Form your own opinion.
Yeah.
About wanting to go and see a film. Don't just do it because the critics slate it. However, to be so hardline against, using this as a political scapegoat motive when it's just blatantly a bad film annoys me.
I think...
Because it's becoming quite common.
I think the thing is, general public don't know what a good film is. Like, they can't tell the difference between what a good film and a bad film is. Like, they might enjoy it because there's gore in it, and that's like, oh, I like that. And then like they don't take in anything else into account. They don't take storyline. They don't take the cinematography of it. They don't take the actual acting. It's like, oh, that made me feel good because somebody fought bad people and won.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a good film now.
Very similar thing is happening currently, and it's not out yet, but Joker, the film that's coming out.
Yeah.
Have you seen the news about that?
I've heard that's highly regarded by critics.
Yeah, so it's critics have highly regarded it. However, there's loads of news and media outlets basically using Joker as a scapegoat. It's kind of like the video games cause violence thing.
Right.
They're saying you're irresponsible for making and putting out this film because it's humanizing and promoting violence.
Yeah, right, because he's a crazy villain. And I've seen stuff that's saying like it's promoting... Do you know what incel is?
No.
It's like involuntary celibate.
Okay.
Or something like this. And it's a kind of way of life for probably stereotypically youngish white men who are shunned by society or especially by women. And they are kind of a bit weird and hated, but they have this little community about it. And Joker is probably seen as one of those people because he's now an older white dude who is kind of like no one really likes him.
Yeah.
But he's the butt of every joke. Yeah. He's awkward, antisocial, and then he turns his life around and becomes a maniac and becomes a killer, and that's when he garners respect and people appreciate him now that he's turned into a madman. Yeah. Which I can understand why people will be like, well, this is not a good thing to be showing. But obviously you can't say you can't show villains at all because people might become villainous. It's a silly argument to make.
My biggest issue here is if you take aside any of the argument for whether it is responsible or irresponsible,
right?
All of these people are coming to this conclusion with a film that's not been released yet.
Yeah.
They don't know what that might not be the case at all when the film comes out.
True. The trailers do seem that way.
True, but I don't think you can base... It's like leaving a bad review for a film that you've only seen the trailer for. Yeah. Which I think it's an issue because it does happen a lot.
I'd be curious to see what the audience review of Joker is versus the critic review.
So I think, I'm gunning to review that when it comes out. So I think we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Yes, I'm sure we will.
Right, I want to do, because this is our 50th 1 year
it is
roundup, I would like to make a 2-sheep leaderboard of all the reviews that we've done.
Oh, okay.
To see what film is the best that we have reviewed. Because then we can have this ongoing as we do more. We'll have a 2-sheep leaderboard. So what I'm going to do, I've put together a list of every film that we've reviewed. I'm going to get us to put them in order.
Right.
The film in... So we've got 13. Then we'll average out...
Okay.
What films we've got. So it's not just your list and my list.
Right.
If we've got a film that has the same rating, we'll use Rotten Tomatoes, and whichever's got the higher rating will be the higher one that wins.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. So what me and Ben have just done is we've gone through all the films we've watched. We've rated them from first to last. We've watched 13. And then we've added up the scores, and then the ones with the lowest score are our best film of the year. And then the ones with the highest score are our worst films that we've seen. We kind of said as we were going through that 13 through 10
Yeah.
Yeah.
From our 9th film up
are all good films.
Yeah.
We enjoyed them all. And for the bottom 4 are bad.
We think they're bad.
Bad, yeah.
So we've averaged all of our scores out, and we've got a few tiebreakers.
We have. So we'll
we're
work them
using
out halfway through.
Yeah, we're going to use the critics' rating on Rotten Tomatoes
We shall.
to work out the winner there.
Okay.
So
our bottom one is The Christmas Chronicles with 25 points.
it's pretty piss poor.
That was my lowest rating. Yeah,
you passionately hated that.
Yeah. Because you made me watch it thinking it was a good film. You like prefaced it with being a good film.
I really thought it was.
Terrible.
This whole section's only going to be good listening to people who have actually listened to all the episodes.
It is. At 12, we have Shrek Retold with 24 points.
That was my last place. It was such a mess.
It is a mess.
It was funny, but
it's intentionally a mess.
Oh, I know, but it was just almost unwatchable. Like it raises questions of what makes a film.
Yes. But the storyline was there.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway,
Shrek.
Moving on.
At 11, we have Ready Player One.
Yeah. Did not enjoy it.
23 points. Yep. It was poor.
Poor.
Pretty poor. And then at 10, we have Fantastic Beasts 2 Crimes of Grindelwald. With 21 points.
So that's our section, I think. Will I recommend? No.
They're all bad films.
But from the next one onwards, will I recommend? Yes.
So we have a 3-way tie for the next one.
Okay, we're going to have to...
We picked the best film out of the franchises. So we had Creed 1 at 14 points, Rambo 1 with 14 points, and Home Alone 1 with 14 points. I imagine people listen to this are just like, what the fuck is this scoring system? Maybe we'll come up with something better. The lower the points, the better the film.
Right, so Home Alone comes out worse there.
Right.
Only rated 65%.
Wow. So is that 9th?
That's
Home Alone?
9th.
Okay, what's 8th?
8th is First Blood.
First Blood.
With 87%.
Right.
And Creed with a whopping 95%.
Wow.
So that gets our, what is it, 6th?
6th, yeah.
6th place. Right, what's 5th?
5th, we've got another combo draw between Rocky 3, sorry. Rocky 3, that's what we decided on.
Yep.
And Bandersnatch, both with 12 points. What was Rocky's critical rating?
Right, so Rocky on Metacritic is rated 57%.
Right.
Bandersnatch is rated 61.
There you go.
There we go. That's close, though, that. I thought Bandersnatch should be rated higher.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, Bandersnatch is officially better.
So was that
5th and 4th?
5th and 4th.
Right. Then this is going to be interesting.
So we have got Avengers Endgame with 5 points and The Godfather with 5 points.
Yes. So it was your first place and my first place, basically.
Yes. Surely The Godfather is better critically acclaimed than Endgame.
The Godfather is rated
90-something.
98%.
Right, if Endgame beats that's fucking a joke. I bet Endgame's like 73. No, I'll give it 80, 85 actually. I'll give it higher.
You think it's 85?
Yeah.
Endgame is 90.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, there you go.
Still close though.
It's a good film. It's a good film.
Endgame takes the 3rd spot.
Yep.
Godfather takes the 2nd spot.
Yeah.
And in a surprise turn of events,
and neither of our number ones takes number 1. I'm not sure the system works, man.
I think it does. It averages out.
Yeah, it does.
If you can't have your first and I can't, then I suppose it's only fair that we have a...
If we both have 2nd place.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Is...
A Star is Born.
A Star is Born? A film that is famously not a musical.
A film that I refused to see for a long time, but I did actually really enjoy.
On the grounds that it was a musical.
In the grounds that it was a musical.
But it's not.
And not that I hate musicals, it's just that it was good to wind you up.
Yeah.
That's a good year of seeing films.
I think I enjoy a list like this because it puts so many different decades up against each other.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll have to do like recent versus like a recent set versus a not versus but like a different, like an old one and a new one as well.
But I thought this is slowly building our own version of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So we've got a fresh and certified not fresh with our above 10 or whatever it was that we said.
Grass and turd, whatever it is. Sheep turd, do you know what I mean?
Sheep grass or sheep turd. That's our system.
Yeah, I think Rocky for me was put lower because I watched all of those films in about the space of 48 hours.
Yeah, you did.
So that was a lot of films. So
I wonder if you think differently of them now.
probably not.
No.
I think I watched Rocky 3 on like 1.25%.
you
Everything
did.
was on quicker.
I remember you saying this.
So the pacing was great.
It's fantastic.
Punches came just that little bit quicker.
Because I think, you know how we have those tiebreakers? I think Rocky 2 is the highest critically reviewed film. So
would that have beaten whatever else we had?
yeah, it would.
Bandersnatch.
I think it would.
Sad times for you.
Oh, well.
Well, there we go. All the films that we've watched this year.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just turn into a review podcast.
Maybe we will. I mean, that's mostly what we do.
It is.
Just with a conspiracy every now and then.
Every now and then. My mother suggested some films. Would you like to hear the films
Oh, go
that she
on.
suggested?
I would. And we can pick one for in a month's time. Are they classic films? Are they like, this is a film you should have seen?
So my mum said Dr. Zhivago.
How do you spell that? I've never even heard of this.
This is how my mother spelled it, so I'm not saying this is right.
Oh, okay.
Zhivago.
Yeah.
These are like older
Zhivago.
films. Yes. And then the other one is, Gone with the Wind, number 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the last one is Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. I've seen Apocalypse Now, but it's not been for quite some time. I feel like I watched a lot of films that I shouldn't have watched as a child.
Probably.
Because when I say Rambo 2, all the Rambos, I watched when I must have been like 10.
Probably too young for those.
Yeah, probably.
They're at least a 12A.
At least.
Yes.
Well, that's it for another year of Two Sheep in a Pool. If you like what you've heard, you can find us on your podcast app of choice. Give us a 5-star rating. It would help us out.
Mm-hmm. Recommend us to your friends.
Recommend us to your friends and your parents.
Your dog.
Your
sheep.
Teachers. Your sheep. That's a crucial one. You can find us in all the normal places. Our website is twosheepinapool.com. If you want to email in any of your recommendations or your thoughts, your complaints, are we shit? Should we stop? If you think we should stop, email in at bar@twosheepinapool.com. BAA like a sheep. I've been Ben.
And I've been James.
Until next year.
Yes.
That doesn't work. Until next week. See you later.
Love you, bye.
That's it. Is that your new sign off now?
No, that's Scott Mills's, but it's great.
Oh.
Bye.